to wapenje ni jatich Nyasaye, ok yawnwa kanisa, to nyiero. To konwa ni unyalo tich kanisa. To wawachone ni yawnwa kanisa, lemo mar ngesoni osebedonwa mamit. To sesemowa nyaka gi kanisewa, nikech gik mipuonjowa gi, ka koro wadhi e kanisewa kucho, wayudo ka onge. Koro nosegik kama ng'enywa koro ok ne dhi e kanisa Jumapil. Kech koro waneno ni waselemo ngeso seromo, koro ok wadhi e kanisa. Koro ing'e ni kano penjowa ni unyalo tich kanisa, to ne wayiene, to ne waneno kobuonjo, to wachonwa ni tich kanisa to tek, lakini weuru aweya bende nitie ng'at madhi penjo malo. Koyiena tabiro duokonu report. Kanye makaling matin, koro wadar Kusao, wadhi Obunga.
Yes. Because he is still in the presence of God. So he can discharge anything at any time. And also from there, maybe someone can be harmed, so that you find yourself maybe in a certain mess, of which I was trying to look on a way to...
But this far, are you as a ministry still facing those challenges where you have to be interrupted, or you are declaring the goodness of the Lord?
Okay, by now we are declaring the goodness of God, because from that time, when we had an argument over what should go on and what should stop, I think that is what had made us to leave this place. Okay. Yeah, because we saw that we could not fit in. Yeah, there is no how you can serve God at the same time. There are some activities which are interfering with the service of God, so people will not get exactly what they should be getting.
We exited in this place in October, the early October. We left this place on, we last worshipped here the last week of September 2014. That was the last Sunday that we were here, and it's on that Sunday that Prophet announced that we were now moving to start now the church.
When he announced you people are moving, had you secured a place?
We didn't have anything. Actually, he just announced he was from the mountain to seek permission from heavens. And when he came back that Sunday, he simply announced that now the heavens have opened it. He's now free to start a church. We didn't have anywhere to go. But what we knew is that we were leaving this ground. So when we left this ground, we started, that very day, we started walking around, checking on other halls within Kisumu, any place, any school where we would now have the church now being established. And all the schools we went to, we didn't there was no school that he saw that was good. So we kept walking up to a point where we reached Obunga. So when we reached Obunga Junction, he said that the Spirit of God is telling him that the church should be in Obunga.
Yeah. Wow, yeah. It's great for your move as the servant of the Lord, or your move as the ministry, to be guided by the Spirit of the Lord. Because when you're serving the Lord, He will guide your steps, He will direct your steps, and He will give you a landing. Just like we've read in the Bible, it is happening to V.P.M ministry, and it will still continue to happen in the ministry. As long as we still submerge ourselves in the presence of the Lord, He will redirect our steps. Thank you very much as you join us in the Obunga proclamation.
We are now at Obunga. Obunga is the first site now where the ministry was actually born.
Oknen kanisa. Nena rado moro mar jo Kristo matin mane beta to opuonjowa mana wach Nyasaye, to kosepuonjowa wach Nyasaye to wadhi adhiya.
And coming from Kusao Hall where we were, then we came to Obunga. So in Obunga we came on 4th October 2014. That's when now we officially came here. And when we came to this place, this was actually a dumping site where there were a lot of filthy things. Everybody in this area, Obunga, by the way, is a slum. So every dirt that was coming from the slums, they were being deposited here. So when we came with the time that we were checking for a place where we were to now put the church, when we passed the junction of Obunga, then the servant of God said that the Spirit of the Lord led him to that the church is supposed to be in Obunga. So when we came to this ground, by then there were some houses, there were some rental houses, some semi-permanent houses, one roomed that people were living in. So he came to this site and he found the owner. The owner was also living around. So he talked with the mama. She was a lady, and funnily enough, when he came here, he found that the lady was actually a mama who was from their village in Yala. So when they started talking, he told the lady that he wanted to start the church at this place. So the lady accepted, and she leased the land to the church. So we were paying her some amount every month. She was coming to collect the money. So now that very day we removed all the structures that were there. Then we started now collecting. The church members were called, and then we started now collecting the dirt and everything that was here. We cleaned the place. It was just a massive exercise of just removing all the dirt and the filth and cleaning the place. And we were joined, also the servant of God was also in this team. So we were doing it as a team. And when we did that clearance, the following day, 5th of October 2014, we had our church. Actually, we did that activity on Saturday, and on Sunday, the church was launched, and we had a tent. We actually pitched a tent on the ground, and we worshipped in that tent, and that's how the church was born, and it started. Then within a week, the members who were there, who had moved from Kosao, decided they contributed, and within a week, we had built a mabati structure that now acted as the church. So this used to be the altar, this place where you see now, you know, we are here 7 years down the line, and this place where there is this, you see this foundation, this used to be the altar of the church. So the church this was the altar, the church, the congregants were sitting facing the other side. So currently the activities that are now going on, since we vacated this place in 2018, so basically this was now where we were seated. Prophet's office was built at the entrance of the church, that other side, and we had a pit latrine down where there is that goat. That's where we had our pit latrine. So generally it was just a mabati structure that we did it. It was nicely decorated, and that's where we were worshiping the Lord. And so when we were here now, it was a full church, and members now kept coming. We kept calling our friends to join in. And this is now where we would do our keshas. All the activities that we were doing, we did from this ground.
Ne wawuok kanisa ma ne wakia ni golo sadaka kata malong. Kech kaka Catholic ni nyalo golo kata siling kech ji ng'eny. Koro nok wang'e kata value ma sadaka. Nyaka koro ochopo kama wagik kode obunga. Koro chako puonjowa gima chiwo mar Nyasaye eka wang'e ni kara sadaka onego ng'ato chiw ne Nyasaye. Wan puonjone mane mitnwa to ka wasewinjo kendo koro wamor wa aya. Nok wagol gimoro.
The name Miriam in my assignment is significant in the ministry that I serve in. And I need to mention very emphatically that V.P.M is a prophetic ministry presided over by a prophet, a servant of God with the anointing of a prophet. And I was not born Miriam. I met prophet when I was serving in the government. I'm a professional administrator, I'm a professional teacher, I pursued a professional line in management. So when I was called into the ministry, what came out, God uses us by the gifts that we have. And by the gift that I had that gift of people management, office management, and organization of institutions.
What I know is that there is no prophet who is called. All prophets are born.
With prophets being born, not called, how did Prophet Samo Mtishiby knew that he was born a prophet?
Myself, knowing that I was a prophet, trust me, I came to know that I was a prophet when it came very clear to me that I was a prophet when I was 19, 18 years. But what I know is that I had a lot of dramas in my life because my parents, my father, was a Catholic by name. My mother, she was a Catholic by virtue of marriage. My grandmother, she's a Catholic by virtue of the community, the clan. Because my great-grandfather is the one who gave a land to Catholic. So a mission was built within our lands. that is back there in the village. So I was born, brought up in a Catholic institution, but amazingly, I was not even baptized in Catholic. Now, when I was young, there was a lot of dramas within my life, things that people could not put hands onto. I was just a unique child with his own problems and challenges, because I was born a very serious stammerer. When I was young, I couldn't speak well. So sometimes I could speak until, for me to pronounce some good words, I had to sing or press my feet down for me, and people used to laugh at me. And so it made me to be shy of speaking. That is number one. Number two, I'm the only child in my family, and my parents were very poor. So there was a high rejection. I normally say my father worked very hard to acquire poverty, and indeed he got it with all legal documents. We were so poor to a point that even poverty knew that we were poor, so it could call us poor people. So there was a high level of rejection. Now, I'm a stammerer. I come from a very poor family. My parents are rejected. My father was the firstborn, so he lost his value. He lost his position as a firstborn in the family. And so there was a life that we were living, me and my two parents. And within this, I started seeing things, because sometimes I could go to play with my cousins or my younger uncles of my age, so they could beat me and chase me and tell me to go and stay with my mom. Secondly, thirdly, maybe whatever the number it is, my mother is not a Kenyan. She's a Tanzanian. So also there was that rejection, because she was not a Luo, neither was she a Luya, and so there was that part of rejection. So in short, I was brought up in a dark cage. So within this dark cage, I realized I had these friends that I could not understand them. So sometimes they could find me alone. They come and they start telling me stories of people that by that time I was very young. I didn't know them, and I liked their stories. So these people could come in white, and they used to come in different forms. Sometimes they could come an old man, sometimes they come a very young man of my age, and they give me different names. Or like today, someone comes, they tell me I'm David. Tomorrow another one comes and tells me I'm Samuel. Another one comes and tells me I'm Daniel. So I realized I had a friend called David, I had a friend called Samuel, but I don't know where they come from, I don't know where they live, but what I know is that they normally come to see me. And every time they come, they tell me stories of people like Abraham, they tell me stories of people like Enoch, they tell me stories of people like Methuselah, and the stories were so good to me. But anytime I could want to share out what I see and the friends I have, the stammering problem comes in. I was a very serious stammerer to a point that I could even bite my own tongue, because I just want to pronounce some words, And so that made me to remain silent. And many things started happening, which were actually amusing. My mom, and all these things, every time they could happen, my mom could record them in her head, even though she never went to school. So even today, she's the one who reminds me some of the things. When she sees me doing something, then she recalls something. Then she tells me, you know what? At one point in your life, this used to happen. What is happening right now is not a new thing. There was a time something like this happened when you were 1 year. Something like this happened when you were 2 years, So it went on like that. In short, to answer the question, when I joined primary school, I became very unique. And so at school, people used to call me priest, because it was a Catholic school. People nicknamed me priest, and actually they used to call me Father John. And I never liked the title. So whatever they saw in me, including teachers, I didn't know. But when I joined secondary, because at class 7, I started a ministry. When I was in class 7, that's when I started my first ministry. So by the time I was doing my class 8, I was already a preacher in the slum. When I joined Form 1, I was a pastor with my own ministry called Upendo, which means love. And I had people. In Form 1, an incident happened in school whereby I saved one of the school principal. I was at home and I got a dream that 3 thugs were to come to school, and they had been sent, paid money, and they were coming to kill the deputy principal. So I was instructed to wake up very early in the morning and go and save him. So I woke up at 4 a.m. By exactly 6 a.m., I was at school. And something amazingly, immediately I arrived, he also came in. And when he came in, I went straight to his office and I told him everything and how it was to happen. And I instructed him what to do. So he did what I instructed him to do. And by 12, the exact time I gave, the thieves came to school and they were arrested by policemen. Some had guns, so they had to be shot. And it was actually an issue. And because of fear, I decided to run away from school because I didn't know what would happen to me. I felt those thugs, maybe they will know I'm the one who disclosed their plan. So I was afraid of my life, so I ran away. For 3 weeks, I never went to school. So the day I went to school, I prayed and I told God, close everyone. No one should know me and no one should see me. So you can imagine the whole term I was being looked for. And I knew these people were looking for me and nobody could get me. Nobody. They tried looking for me by all means. Nobody was able to get me. By that time, people were calling me Mtishiby, which means apostle or servant. That was my title. So I was okay with it. People used to call me Mtishiby. So that was my title. All I knew is that I could see things, I could dream, I could see actions in people's life or events in people's life. But never did I ever call myself anyway a prophet. So after this incident, one day I went to the toilet to help myself. While I was in the toilet, I had a voice. And the voice told me, Lucas, there is somebody who is seriously looking for you. Open his eyes so that he may see you. It was on a Monday. Remember, I'm in school as a student. Outside there, I have a church. I'm a pastor leading people. And that previous Sunday, I'd done a lot of deliverances. So I thought it was people in the estate where I used to live who were looking for me. I didn't know it was in school because I had even forgotten that I'd closed some people's eyes not to recognize me. So out of not remembering things well, I said, fine, open his eyes to see me. Immediately I stepped out of the toilet. Immediately I stepped out. I met with the deputy, the very deputy. And he was a very harsh man, very harsh man. Every student feared him. And he looked into my eyes straight and asked me, are you the boy who came to my office one day? His name was Mr. Francis Tibakanywa. And I said, yeah, I'm the one. And he said, fine, can you go to my office straight? Where have you been? Then I said, oh, I've been here, sir. Then he told me, go straight to my office. So I didn't know what will happen to me. I thought probably I would be suspended because of what I did. So I walked straight to his office, but behind me, he was also following me. So this time there was no way I could tell God, close his eyes not to see me again. So I went to the office. I found the principal there waiting for me. He had called the principal and told her, I found the boy. Because they had been looking for me the whole term. I've found the boy who came to save me. So she was at the gate also waiting for me. So from far she looked at me, and when I reached there, she asked me, are you Lucas? And I said, yes. Then she told me, get into my office. So I didn't know what was going to happen. So from there, she started interrogating me. So all the questions she was asking, I was able to answer, but some I didn't want to answer. So she asked me, how did you know about this? Then I told her, God told me about it. Then she asked me, do you hear from God? I said, yes. Then she asked me, from when? I told her, from long time. What do you do apart from being a student? I told her, I'm a preacher with my own church. So you can imagine a Form 1 having a church. Outside there, when he leaves school, he's a pastor. When he's in school, he's a student. So she asked me a question, what proves that God talks to you? So immediately I saw a vision in her life. Her name was Mrs. Ndungo. Immediately I saw a vision in her life that she had a daughter who had been looking for a passport to go to South Africa. But somebody had decided to get hold of the passport simply because from the passport center, because the man wanted to sleep with the daughter first before he hands over the passport. So I told her, you have a daughter by this name? And she said, yes. The daughter has been looking for a passport? She said, yes. But there is this man by this name who is holding the passport of your daughter because he wants this from your daughter. And he told your daughter point blank, if she does this, she will get the passport. If she doesn't do this, she will not get the passport. So at the moment as I'm talking to you, your daughter is contemplating to get into the trap because they have talked and they have reached a point whereby the guy has agreed to use protection, that is condom, which means your daughter is almost getting into it because this issue of going to South Africa is becoming a pressure. And during that time, we were in the regimes of Moi, where corruption was the root, the order of Kenya. It's not like today, when someone does something like that, there is a next office you can go to. You know, things have really changed in Kenya. So by that time, it was the boss decides the fate of your next step. So I told the Malim, and the Malim was shocked, and then I told her, this is what your daughter should do. Remember, it was on a Monday. I told her, tomorrow is Tuesday. Tell your daughter to fast from 9 to 3. And this is the program. This is how she should fast. And this is how she should pray. Immediately she finishes this prayer, she will receive a call to go and pick her passport. And nothing will happen. So number one, I knew the name of the daughter without her telling me. I knew the story of South Africa. And I told her to know what she didn't know, what her daughter was going through. So as a parent, that was so painful. And there she called the daughter and asked the daughter if that was the case. And the daughter confessed, this man has been telling me this. You know? So she told the daughter everything, how she knew the information. Because the daughter was also shocked. How did mom knew about this, that I was about now to compromise myself? So at the end of the day, they fasted. When they fasted, at exactly 4:30 after the fasting, the very, very man called the daughter and told the daughter, I'm traveling out of the country. Go and pick your passport from a lady called Elizabeth. I've left your passport there. It's an emergency travel. So you see, whatever was to happen did not happen, but at the end of the day, the daughter received the passport. Now, this lady, the senior teacher, she was one of the senior leaders of Anglican Church of Kenya from the headquarters. And so they were family friend to the national bishop of Anglican Church by then called Mr. Manasseh Kuria. So due to this incident, this lady went and shared with the husband. And now they decided to interrogate me because it was 98. It was the year 1998. And that's when devil worshipping in Kenya was now picking up at a very high level. So they didn't know the kind of a person I was, the kind of a boy I was. So they decided to look for someone more spiritual to come and interrogate me. That's when now they brought in the late Bishop Manasseh Kuria. So the late Bishop Manasseh Kuria was brought to Pomwani Secondary School to interrogate me. So I was just called again from the office. It took around 2 weeks. I was called from the office that there's somebody who wanted to meet me. So when I went, I met this old man with a round cape, red, was it red or purple, a small one. And he had a cross beads, and he was just seated there. And then I got in, so the Malim did the introduction, but she didn't tell me who the old man was. She just told me, meet my visitor, Manasseh Kuria. So they had talked. So that they had talked, maybe the guy hide his identity so that he can interrogate me. So we started talking, and I realized he was engaging me in too much questions of the Bible. And remember, before these things happened also, I had complaints. Teachers had complained a lot about me. And so it was a staff meeting discussion about me. That there was a boy in Form 1K who doesn't read, who doesn't study, he's ever reading the Bible. But anytime you ask him any question, he will answer you even to what you have not taught. I was a student in uniform but with a Bible in my bag. That is the only book I used to carry. And a cross, a timber cross. So the old man started interrogating me. He went on. And at what point I decided to become furious with him. I asked him to tell me his identity. Yeah. I asked him, if I will not speak until you tell me your identity. So that's when he opened up and he told me his name was Bishop Manasseh Kuria, the head of Anglican Kenya, the entire republic. I was so overjoyed to have met such a person in my life at that age. At that time, I had this zeal, this thirst of things of God. So when he revealed himself to me, we became very friends. So now I was able to answer question. He asked question, I answer. And I remember at one point he was asking me about heaven. So I started telling him how heaven looks like, the roads in heaven, how the heaven is designed, the first heaven, the second heaven, the third heaven. And he was shocked to realize that even heavens are not the way he thought it is one. I taught him from first heaven up to the seventh heaven. And our meeting, in short, took 5 good hours. So when he was leaving is when he went to the staff room to pray for the teachers and bless them, because he was an icon, a blessing icon. So in the staff room he told them, you people don't know that boy is a prophet. He was the first one to call me prophet, because there is a question he asked me about his death. Then I told him when he will die and how he will die and where he will die. Then he asked me which is the best way to be buried. I told him, because of the nature of a person you are, don't let people worship your grave. I will recommend burn your body. That's why Bishop Manasseh Kuria was banned.
On 19th September 2005, Bishop Manasseh Kuria died at the age of 76 and his body was cremated, which is unusual in their society, where their bodies are buried at St. John's Anglican Church, Kabuka in Limuru.
So from there, when he left the office, he had all the information about his life. And now, 3 months down the line, he was the very person who took me to State House. And I met President Moi. So the second person to call me prophet was the president of the nation himself, President Moi. The first person was Bishop Manasseh Kuria. The second one was the late President Moi. Then the third person to call me prophet was the Catholic Bishop, Zingi Mwano Anzeki, when I met him, Holy Family Basilica. And I was also taken there. So within no time, I became an icon that big pastors and big men in the city, now they were, everyone wanted to interact with me, have time with me. Now, that is when God sent a prophet again, all the way from the village, somebody I'd never met. And he found me. Then he took me after asking me questions, which I answered, and I asked him questions. And I told him, I want to ask you 5 questions. If you fail even one, I will not believe in you. And I will not believe that God has sent you. So when I asked him my 5 questions, he answered them as if someone had told him the answers. And to me, these were the most difficult questions that I knew not easily will someone answer them. And when I asked him my questions, it was like, it's like asking him, where have you come from? And who are you? How old are you? It was just like that. It was like nothing to him. And in short, the man took me and he went to stay with me on the mountain. And that is how I disappeared in the eyes of people. From the year 98, I came to surface the year 2000. So all those 2 years, I was living with him on the mountain. And while I was there, he was teaching me several things that also I didn't know. And by that time, that man was 110 years. He was not a young man. He was 110 years. So you see, you can't just become a prophet in a night. You wake up and tomorrow you tell people I'm a prophet, and you start telling people I'm a great prophet, I'm a mighty prophet. No. There has to be a journey. There is no prophet without a journey. Every prophet must have a journey, a divine journey, a divinity journey. So what I've just mentioned is just a summarized report. But I think from there, when I surfaced now, things were happening, crazy things, and I think that's how the title prophet sticked. So I don't remember myself sitting anywhere and calling myself, now I want people to call me prophet. At the end of the day, I normally say it's just a title. It doesn't matter. Me, whether you call me prophet, you call me Lucas, you call me pastor, or whatever name you want to call me, it doesn't matter to me. What matters is, do I accomplish what I need to accomplish each and every day? Am I making sure that everything that needs to be fixed within my time and within my assignment is being fixed? That's the most important thing to me, not even the title itself.
Back in Obunga, many things were happening.
And 2015, we did one of the greatest worship, 24-hour worship, where we started worshiping God 6 a.m. to the following day, 6 a.m. Things happened.
God has a purpose. Yeah. Praise Jehovah God. Yeah. I want to do something. For the first time, a prophet of God, together with the president of the county. He's a president of this county.